And our guest today, she's a former Pro Tour player. She's now working for Tennis Australia and developing our up-and-coming juniors. And she was one of the nicest girls on the tour. Emma Hayman, welcome on.
Thank you, Karis. Thank you so much for having me.
We've done a bit of a switcheroo. You're now in Perth. I'm on the East Coast. How are you settling in over WA?
Perth is beautiful. I have not spent a lot of time here before, but the people in the tennis community that I've met so far have been really, really lovely. The weather's put it on. The town's great. Yeah, I think more people need to get to Perth to discover it over here in WA. It seems incredible, and I can't see myself leaving too soon.
Yeah, it's definitely a place I want to get back to. It's a bit of a hidden gem. So you're working with our juniors, developing them, and was that something when you finished playing you wanted to get sort of in that field of work?
Yes, good question. Actually, I've been really passionate and yeah, had a love for the game forever, I think. So I obviously, my background was growing up in New Zealand and playing there, and then I was lucky enough to get a scholarship over to the States where I studied and played for 4 years. I stayed an additional year and did some work and did a lot of coaching there in my summers, and really enjoyed the team environment and enjoyed my summers helping out some of the young juniors over there. And yeah, I tried to play for a little bit. I wasn't quite good enough, but I took myself around the world for a little bit, played some club tennis and played a few tournaments, and was lucky to be a part of the New Zealand tennis community as well after tennis. And yeah, when that sort of came to an end, I thought, hey, what next? I didn't really want to step away from tennis. I wanted to still be involved. So I thought, if I can try to give back and educate the young players of the next generation, as well as educating parents and families about the tennis journey, because it's a very different journey. It's a sport that yeah, once you get involved, it's a bit of a there's so many avenues and so many options, and what's right, what's wrong, and there's a lot that we have to try to learn as we go through. So yeah, I thought if I could give back and try to help out a little bit, that would be great. And I fell into it, and I've stayed in it, and I love it.
What do you say to parents who are a little overwhelmed by, they want the best for their child's development, but there's always these options of, changing coaches to the national body or going full-time tennis, so taking them out of school. What advice do you have for parents who are a bit overwhelmed by the whole tennis process and developing their child the best they can?
Firstly, there's a lot of different pathways, and there are a lot of different ways that players can go. There is no right or wrong. Each person is on their own journey, and I think they have to focus on themselves and their pathway. But I think it's really important for those parents and those players to surround themselves by good people and caring people that have got experience in the tennis world. There's a lot of people out there, and a lot of us can chat, but I would encourage the parents to ask really good questions to their private coaches or their state bodies or their national bodies, or people that they trust fairly well. I think you've got to find a couple of good people to get some good information out of. There's college pathways, there is the professional pathway, there is, you can play domestically within your country or state or whatever it is, depending on what your ultimate goal is. A lot of us have a dream or have dreams for our children to become tennis players, but we've got to work back from there. There's a lot involved. So I'll just encourage them to get as much information as they can from the right people. And yeah, just ask questions.
In terms of as well, not just developing our players of the next generation, but do you think there could also be, they would benefit from having that discussion of life after tennis and sort of thinking about, what they're going to do after the sport? Obviously everyone wants to be number one and finish and be able to retire through tennis, but the reality is there is also life after their tennis career.
Exactly right. There is life after tennis. Some may have a really great career, but still, after their great career, they've still got to have a life after that. Some may not have the career, and there's still life after tennis. So you've got to, put the rackets down at some stage. And it is tough. I've got a few friends that have recently stopped playing tennis, and traveling all year round and competing and being on a plane, new city, new place. It becomes your whole life until you hit, let's say, 25, 26 or 36, whenever it is that you decide to stop. And there's a lot of life to live after tennis. So I think players, and they need the support, as in what you're doing right here with, educating the tennis community with what is involved after tennis. I think it's really important, and to develop those relationships and those networks while you're playing tennis, to have doors that may open post tennis. So I'm a big believer in building the right relationships and opening up networks, because that can lead to anything. So I think it's really important, and tennis gives us those opportunities to travel around the world and meet those people. Sometimes they're fans, or whether they've helped us at college, or whether they've helped us in our junior careers. There's doors that open up, tennis or non-tennis wise too. But yeah, it's a tough time, because I think it can be quite a dark place for some people if all of a sudden you just stop. See you later. It's your next life, which is very different to the tennis world. So the more that they can educate themselves, and the more that they can see what else is out there in the world, and the earlier that can happen, the easier that transition will be, in my opinion.
Well, it's great to see helping our next generation, still being involved so heavily in the game. Thanks so much, Emma, for taking the time to chat today.
No problem. Thanks, Karis. And if anybody's got any questions, they're welcome to contact me. I'm obviously based at Tennis West. My email's on the website. So if anybody does have any info, I'm more than happy to help out. But keep surrounding yourself by good people, and just, keep on your own path.
That's it. And say hi to all my Perth family over there as well.
I will do. Thanks, Karis.